So this is the Iron Glutton. It's the opening fight to the White Gold Tower for Elder Scrolls Online. It's pretty basic tank and spank type of fight. This group we did it with was pretty low level, so it took him about 40 seconds to get him down. Does a couple AoEs, just kind of block and stay out of the red orb. Pretty basic stuff, but it's it's a good start. Gives you an idea who you're working with. You can see this pickup group decided they'd grab all the ads, even though you don't have to kill any of them. But that's what you get with the activity finder. But they were able to get him down, so it's a good start to the dungeon. So this is the Adjudicator. It's the second event in White Gold Tower for Elder Scrolls Online. It's really the first big major event. This one gets a lot of people tripped up. You can see there's 4 cages around the room. So randomly throughout the event, she picks someone and puts them in the cage. There's 2 ways to get out. You can either pick the lock, or you can use a gap closer. And there's tons of different gap closers in the game, like the 2-hand or the shield charge. There's lots of different gap closers. But yeah, you just target any mob while you're in there and use your gap closer to get you out instantly. But even picking the lock's really not that hard. For some reason, people struggle with this one. I highly suggest building some survivability into your character for events like this. As you can see, all the cages are on fire, so not only do you have to contend with the locked cage, but you're going to take damage at the same time. Other than that, it's pretty standard. You can see there's waves of ads that keep popping. She's doing these little blue fire, red rings all around the room. So you just stay out of the fire, kill the ads, and pray your group mates can get out of the cage efficiently. Sometimes this one's a little rough with pickup groups. I like to do my videos with pickup groups so you can get an accurate idea of what you can expect. Going through the activity finder when you're playing Elder Scrolls, usually it's pretty good. I've done most of what I've done on here with pickup groups. You can see this one only has 3 people in it because the activity finder bugged right before the event. As you can see, my screen says we're queued, but we weren't queued, so after this we quickly picked up a second DPS, which sped things along a little bit. I've been lucky so far. I think I only get locked in a cage once on this try. But that'll give you a look at, the mechanic. I usually just pick the lock myself. It only takes maybe 10 seconds, and it's the most reliable way to do it. Even if you're using a gap closer, you still have to rely on the tank to, pull the ads or the boss near the cages. And actually, you can see on this one that I'd made the mistake that I didn't do that. So the best thing to do is not rely on other people and pick the lock yourself. Here's a look at that. It's the same mechanic from all the other Oblivion games. Pretty straightforward. We've all been doing it for years. So you should expect to be able to get into a group and have 4 people that can pick a lock. So this is the 3rd event in White Gold Tower. It's the second mini event. You can see we died on our first attempt. There's a couple different ways you can do this. Usually people like to take out the healer first in events where you have multiple bosses if it's not a balanced fight. But the trick to this one is the healer actually heals herself quite a bit more than she's going to heal the tank. You can see we're taking the tank down pretty quick. So once we got focused, this one was pretty easy. The way I usually do it is I'll take out the tank first, then the DPS, and then the healer last. The DPS has a pretty big fire trail attack that he does. There it is. That seems to do a whole lot of damage, especially on Vet. That's really the main thing to look out for, other than the auras, you know, on the ground. This event really isn't too bad. At the end of this, there's a nice foreshadowing section. It shows you the mechanics for the next event. One of the crucial mechanics coming up is killing the portals. So throughout, you know, even clearing the trash mobs in the next few rooms and then up to the next boss, there's going to be these portals that pop, and one of your group mates is going to have their screen turn black and white. So when that happens, they have to kill the portals, and it has to be that person. So if you're grouping with morons, you know, they're not going to close those portals, and you're going to get overrun with ads. This game does a pretty good job of foreshadowing mechanics for a lot of their dungeons. Well, for instance, like some of the newer ones, like Ruins of Mazatoon, you know, they show in the hallways coming up to the boss a couple of the different mechanics. You know, the same as they do on this one. This is from Imperial City's first expansion, so this is your content's about a year old, but still good. You know, still a difficult mission, and since the Tamriel 1 update, it's all pretty even. You know, even the older content is still difficult and challenging. This is one of the more challenging dungeons, even though it's old. But yeah, the next event coming up is why there's quite a few mechanics, and you really have to rely on your teammates to do the right thing. And unfortunately, if you're using the activity finder, sometimes that's difficult to do. But yeah, here's the event mechanic. When I walk into the room, screen turns black and white. Portal on the left there. You see they don't have very many hit points. Even the ones on vet don't have that many. The vet ones obviously have a few more than this. This is on normal. So this is the second major boss fight in the White Gold Tower. It's the planar inhibitor. I started the video a little soon. I wanted to show it was kind of odd. The Dragon Knight chain grip is not a taunt, but if you notice in that fight and then the next one coming up, I don't use any other taunts, just that chain in the beginning, and aggro doesn't come off, so I found it kind of odd. Even though it's not a taunt, it seems to act like one. So technically the Scion of Wrath here is the fourth boss in the event. He's not much, you know, he just kind of has about 300k hit points and pops a couple red auras, nothing too fancy. And the planar inhibitor is the fifth boss fight. This one has a few mechanics. You can see the red ball in the center, the pinion as they call it. The person who holds that, you can see I'm grabbing it there, has aggro. She kills who has that. So that's how that mechanic works. The event goes on, eventually she's going to ramp up and turn blue. When that happens, her DPS increases significantly and you got to run away from her. So the other mechanic to this event that makes it a little bit difficult to do with a group from the activity finder, you'll notice the portals that just pop to the right and Drummer Boy's running around killing them. You know, obviously he knows the event, so he's able to quickly go around and kill them. No big deal. One of our group mates here doesn't know the event, so a little later in the video you'll see the portals pop and no one reacts. So here's the blue flame. You know, the trick to doing this, if you're kiting it, is you want to keep her in sight. You can see I'm just slowly turning the screen, keeping hold of her. And also you'll notice in the background one of my teammates just grabbed the pinion. That's the way you want to do this fight right there. And then the second it pops back up, I grab it back. Because I'm the tank and I should hold aggro. But they keep it off me just long enough, you know, to get through this phase. And you know, again, that's the trick to this. That's the way you want to do that. But yeah, the Pinion, closing the portals. If you close the portals fast enough, you don't get any ads. And if you don't, you know, of course you want to kill the ads that you do pop. It's a fairly straightforward event. If she does catch up with you, it does quite a bit of damage. Yeah, you'll see here the portals have popped. There's 5 of them up and no one doing anything. Now we've got ads starting to pop. You know, 1 or 2 ads isn't a big deal, but in a moment, the Ogrems start to pop. The longer they're up, the more ads pop. So again, as long as you're not grouping with morons, yeah, the event's not too bad as long as everyone follows the directions, you know, and does the event as intended. This isn't one you can just run over, even if it's on normal. Luckily enough, the mistake in this one didn't happen until she was already at 30%, so we still managed to get her down before the Ogre even got over to us. So this is the 6th event in the White Gold Tower Elder Scrolls Online. It's Molag Kina. You can see when the event starts, she's in her shield phase. The lightning aspects are, you know, shielding her with lightning, so you want to kill those. You want to make sure you do it from range. You can see I'm staying way back using the chain, 3,000 damage nuke. When they die, they explode and they do a whole lot of damage. Even on normal, it'll kill you. It's instant kill. Also, the blue flame around the outside is instant kill. You want to stay right around that line. You can see I'm standing on it between the dark circle and the kind of medium gray circle. You can see she just popped her lightning aura, and I roll dodge through it. Those lightning walls will kill you if you stand in them too long. You can roll dodge through the lightning. That's really the way to go because you don't take any damage that way. You can see that guy just died standing in it. You want to constantly be looking out for Atronauts. When they pop, they're going to send a lightning beam at someone, and that person needs to run, and everyone else needs to kill it. If it catches up with that person, they die, and anyone else around them dies. That's really the most difficult part of this event. There's some flashier lightning parts like this where you want to dodge the lightning waves, and there's a big knockback that's scary because you get close to the blue lightning, but really it's about that Atronaut. If you keep one of those up, it's going to kill people. Luckily this group was pretty good. I think we only saw a couple Atronauts. There hadn't been one yet in that first phase. I believe in the phase coming up you'll see one. There's a good look at the knockback. You can see a lot of people died on that. There's 2 in the back. But our DPS did a good job of resin here, and you know, I held down the boss, so you know, big shock, we recovered. So there's the Atronaut. You can see there's only 2 of us up, and it's after me, so killing it's not an option, so I had to run. Tried to throw a little damage at it, but I saw that wasn't doing anything, so just ran away. Yeah, as long as no one's standing by it, it's not too big a deal, but killing it's really the way to go, because it doesn't have very many hit points, and as long as your party isn't dead like my pickup group here was, it's not too hard to kill those Atronauts. 30% she's going to pop a second lightning wall. That's when it gets tough. Again, with 2 lightning walls going at the same time in reverse order, plus Atronauts popping up, it's a lot going on. You really want to stay toward the center, but not too close to the center. It's kind of the trick. You can see some of them are staying pretty far back, and they've been dying a lot in this mission. Alright, she should be going into her last phase any minute. And there it is. Again, roll dodge is the way to go. Conserve stamina.
Waited as long
and that's the White Gold Tower.
The scroll said I'd be skewered. Never mind.